Hey friends, Sean from SGT Report here, and it's high time that we took Paul Joseph Watson to the woodshed. Paul Joseph Watson believes he has a monopoly on truth as it pertains to the Las Vegas shooting, and I would like to play a clip here for you of Paul Joseph Watson talking with Steven Crowder. And in this clip, Watson talks about any of us who've been talking about multiple shooters in Vegas as being idiots.
Who are they going to punish? Who's going to get punished through that? Obviously, it's going to be you, Stephen. It's going to be me. Yeah. And it's because all these idiots come out, as you mentioned, immediately after the attack and say, multiple shooters. We've debunked it one by one. But it goes viral every time. So because of that, they're now going to come after us even more with the censorship. And we can get into that because, Stephen, I don't know if you've got DMs open, but it's been an uphill battle over the past few days with this multiple shooter thing. People will not let it go, despite the fact that it's been debunked. And now that's actually causing The Guardian to write headlines like the victims are horrified by this, and YouTube has come out and said, right, we're going to crack down.
All right, guys, first thing I want to say about this is that the victims aren't horrified about reports of multiple shooters. Many of the victims themselves have reported they believe there were multiple shooters.
It wasn't that, okay, let's all leave and now it's okay. No. We all started running and they came in. That's why there's no humanly possible way that guy, that was the only shooter.
Victims are horrified by reports that the whole thing was a hoax. So Paul Joseph Watson in this interview is already conflating two different things. That's number one. Number two, Paul Joseph Watson was not there, nor is Paul Joseph Watson a detective on the ground with first-hand information, and Paul Joseph Watson does not have a monopoly on the truth. So let's review the facts. Number one, the police recordings cannot be quote-unquote debunked. They are fact, they are on the record. And initial reports from police officers themselves were that there was an active shooter inside the fairgrounds and an active shooter near Gate 7.
We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds.
Control, be advised, shots are coming from Gate 7. Gate 7, shots are coming from Gate 7.
Now, to back that up, we will play this video clip from Deplorable News Network, which shows firsthand people on the ground at the fairgrounds and records audio gunfire, some distant, some present, and some overlapping.
People heard like bullets in different places and stuff, and that's really accurate when it's picked up by a cell phone mic, isn't it? Yeah. Well, no, now we know. The guy was firing out the window. He was turning round and firing inside the hotel room at the door because the security guard interrupted him. So that's why it was a harsh, loud sound and then a muffled sound that sounded far away, because he was firing inside the hotel room.
So according to Paul Joseph Watson, the very present sounds of gunfire heard by concert goers is to be written off as nothing more than delusion. And further, any of the audio recordings documenting present gunfire versus very distant gunfire is, in Paul Joseph Watson's mind, simply because the lone gunman did a 180-degree turn inside his hotel room and began shooting his weapon towards the door. So all of the recoil and all of the sound of the automatic gunfire would change drastically merely because the gunman turned 180 degrees. Let's listen to audio analysis of the distant and present gunfire to see if that explanation holds up.
Very distant. Now, there's no, and this is a continuous roll. They're not stopping and starting the recording. There's no present recording. There's just this distant thing, and it does sound different than the echo. So here's a distant shot, and here's the echo. Here's the very present shot. There's the echo. No present shot, just a distant shot. And you think, okay.
That sounds like it's coming from...
and even the driver is saying, this is from a long ways away. And then right as they're talking here,
farther away.
there's another very distant either echo or recording. But now what's important to see, you could see where the person's parked. The driver is parked. And she doesn't leave. She doesn't leave. She's in the same spot. She's in the same spot. And then here's the distant recording, the distant shot. And now we have a 13-shot burst, roughly. Very close range.
And by the way, Paul Joseph Watson rests his debunking efforts on the fourth floor strobe.
The other thing, there's a flashing light on the fourth floor. There must have been another gunman on the fourth floor. No, that flashing light was there before. It was there during the concert before the shooting.
Dismissing out of hand any suggestion that there were multiple shooters when we have police recordings suggesting there were indeed multiple shooters at Mandalay Bay.
We just spoke with security at Mandalay Bay. They're saying they have shots fired on 29 and 32nd levels. What's going on, Sam Agents? Coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up.
It sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons.
And as Mike Adams, the health ranger, has reported, law enforcement themselves say the Vegas shooter could not have acted alone. In addition, when we review the police recordings, keep in mind that the recordings are firsthand. We have police officers saying confirmed casualties at Alibaba and Giles, east of the Catholic Shrine, as well as in the Mandalay Bay. So we have 2 scenes. That would indicate multiple shooters.
Control 224IC, confirming I have casualties at Alibaba and Giles, east of the Catholic Shrine, as well as in the Mandalay Bay. So we have 2 scenes.
Also, shots fired inside of New York, New York.
Control 35 SE, we got possible reports of shots fired inside New York, New York.
We're getting a 415A. The advisor was a shooter at the front desk. In reference to 415A at New York, they're advising the active shooters possibly coming down the escalator from New York, New York to Excalibur.
And we have active shooter reports of medics under fire near the Tropicana.
Control 374, I got medics reporting that they're getting shot at in Tropicana.
And it's be advised now there's an active shooter at the Tropicana, active shooter at Tropicana.
And how does Paul Joseph Watson explain this police recording describing a WMA suspect in black fatigues, we believe that stands for white male adult, near Cobalt in Tropicana?
There's one WMA in black fatigues in a white RV off of Cobalt in Tropicana, south up. Control 8 Mary 263, we're going to put a shotgun facing the RV that the suspect is supposed to be in. It's going to be behind a Clark County Fire Department engine.
And finally, we have reports by police of shots fired at Caesars and the Bellagio, which is backed up by eyewitness testimony.
And be advised now we're getting shots fired at Caesars and the Bellagio.
All I know is what happened here at the Bellagio, because this is where Daniel and I were. And when the shots came firing in through the front door of the lobby and the mass chaos and stampede was when I was under the table and Daniel was on top of me.
As this story continues to develop and evolve, we wonder if ex-CIA agent Robert Steele was right when he said this.
Number one, Las Vegas is absolutely a false flag event. Whether people died or not, this has been concocted by the Zio-Cons, by the deep state. This is something in which Sheldon Adelson, who owns the casinos in the area where it happened, and Michael Chertoff, the Zionist first director of the Department of Homeland Security, are in a co-conspiracy with others.
And given that Paul Joseph Watson and InfoWars never wants to address the plague of Zionism and the role of Israel and the Mossad in so many false flags, including 9/11.
The fact of the matter is we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
We wonder if this is exactly why Paul Joseph Watson continues to support the official story of the lone gunman lie in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching, and for real news 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com.
And it's definitely someone on the ground Definitely, most definitely. The way they herded the crowd and all of us, and then they kept coming. They even came into the back staff parking lot and shot people out there too. So they just kept coming. Like I said, there's definitely someone on the ground.